Is it possible to be an athlete and not drink Red Bull, but who made it and made it so famous? On October 14th, 2012, millions of viewers watched as skydiver Felix Baumgartner ascended to the edge of space, breaking both the sound barrier and a handful of world records by taking one small step and then descending 120,000 feet from NASA or SpaceX. If you look a little closer, you'll see the unmistakable Red Bull logo. But that's just one of countless examples of Red Bull's extreme and unorthodox design strategies. It goes without saying that having a competitive football and sports team is another masterpiece of Red Bull, one of the biggest disruptors in the beverage industry and also one of the best products in the market. By the end of 2022, the global energy drink industry will be worth about $90 billion, and Red Bull, which will sit atop the caffeinated throne in 2021 alone, has sold more than 9.8 billion cans in 172 countries, more than one can for every person on the planet. However, Red Bull started from the most unlikely and humble beginnings. He was born in a village in Thailand, and his parents were duck farmers who also sold fruit. They had little money and could not give their children a formal education, so Chaleo grew up on a farm with very little perspective. He went to Bangkok to work with his brother as a pharmaceutical sales representative. He worked very hard and saved enough money to open his own pharmacy in 1956. The small business he called TC Pharmaceutical Industries was initially designed solely to sell drugs such as antibiotics that he imported. But at the same time, pharmaceutical companies in Japan began producing herbal syrups with they labeled energy tonics, and soon they started importing them. He realized that the original version of these energy tonics, the current products on the market, were too expensive and mostly aimed at wealthy consumers. Because he himself came from poverty, he knew that a worker actually needed a lot more energy. Construction workers or farmers who do a lot of physical work that requires constant attention and energy. So after analyzing the formulas of other drinks, he created his own drink. The drink contained the caffeinated B vitamins and a chemical called taurine. But what really set his concoction apart from the competition was the inclusion of large amounts of sugar, which gave the syrup a more appealing and even more energizing taste. The name of the drink, Krating Dang, in Thai means red, which for him is a symbol of perseverance. But Krating does not actually mean a ball, but a grave, which is a relative of it. But why water buffalo and the largest species of wild cattle in the world? The reason for this choice is that Chaleo wanted the brand to be rooted in strength. But the competition for his drink was tough at the time when products from countries like Japan and South Korea were dominant. But Chaleo's decision to focus more on the provincial and rural parts of Thailand, as opposed to its competitors focusing on big cities like Bangkok, was a wise choice. To get started, Chaleo gave away some free samples to truck drivers who work long hours and needed help staying alert, and he also donated a portion of his proceeds to support the popular martial art of Muay Thai in Thailand. Not only did this help his drink become known, it also created an association with high energy and power, which was a great strategy because most energy drinks at the time were very generic. While Chaleo was building from the ground up, by 1980 he had become almost a symbol of endurance among the working class, his product gaining popularity throughout Thailand. Yet it was an unlikely encounter. A man named Dietrich Mateschitz, who was a successful businessman and implemented some ideas with money, always known for his wildly imaginative ideas. He worked his way up to international marketing director of a German company called Blendings after graduation, making products such as shampoo, skin creams, and toothpaste as part of his job. Dietrich had to travel all over the world, which meant long days and nights of airports and flights on a particularly long and exhausting journey. He was very tired on one of the flights to Thailand. He was feeling so tired that he went to a local store and asked if there was anything he could help him with, and he met Chaleo Drink. He tried it, and in just a few minutes, not only was his fatigue gone, but he felt more energetic. Now read a newspaper that the highest taxpayer in Japan was another one of these energy drinks, confirming how popular these products are in Asia. Yet there really wasn't anything like it in the West. To be honest, Dietrich was kind of fed up with his job, and so he decided to make a very bold move. He quit his high-paying job and tracked Chaleo down and said he wanted to do business with him. Dietrich's plan was to do just. The two decided to go into business together, putting up $500,000 each from their savings, agreeing that Dietrich would run the operations while Chaleo would continue to focus on the product. The first big decision was that they should form a new separate company. So the Red Bull company was established, but Red Bull's two founders believed so much in the idea that they went ahead with it anyway, using feedback to make major changes, such as carbonating the drink and switching to a silver, slimmer-looking can. Since Dietrich knew he couldn't do heavy advertising, he initially relied on more creative, lower-cost marketing strategies to get the word out about Red Bull. Some students were then given free boxes of Red Bull and asked to drive around campus in Mini Coopers emblazoned with giant cans of Red Bull. And these students were also paid to throw parties filled with it was one of the Red Bull drinks. As a result, the students got into the habit of buying Red Bull for their friends and students. They even started recruiting women for Red Bull girls and just handed out free drinks on campus. Red Bull even started placing empty cans in bars and nightclubs so that people would constantly see it and be curious to try the drink. All these tactics were successful, but they lost money that year because they sold many products were given away for free as part of their marketing plans. But Dietrich knew that investing in their brand, especially in the early stages, would pay dividends later. In the second year, sales doubled, 2 million cans, and again to 4 million cans by the third year. Red Bull was distributed throughout Europe, and at one point it became very popular in Germany. But they couldn't actually produce enough cans to keep going. Red Bull was ready in the US for the first time, although by then the energy drink market had become a $1.7 billion business. So much more competition had entered the market, and unlike other beverage competitors such as Coca-Cola, Red Bull had no secret patented formula. The ingredients are clearly labeled on the can, and at first Red Bull literally only offered one flavor. Asked in an interview why he hadn't tried to make a product that tasted better, Dietrich said, "Red Bull has never been about the product itself. It's about building a brand about the experience at its core. As a beverage company, it was a storytelling company, intent on bringing customers into this evolving myth, to join a growing collection of events and sites that attract customers to the brand. Red Bull advertises far, far more than most companies and hosts world-class events. He sponsored one athlete in 1989, but today the company sponsors more than 500 brave and adventurous athletes across the spectrum of professional and amateur sports, from soccer to ice hockey to Formula One, which is actually another revenue stream, has opened for the company. They earn money from Formula One prizes and sponsorships, which gives them more money to reinvest in marketing. For example, with a team like the New York Red Bulls, every time the media or fans discuss the team, they naturally bring Red Bull into the conversation. The company even invented its own sporting events. Created in 2000, the Fluke label is the German word for flying day. During the event, Red Bull created hundreds of teams around the world that competed in homemade flying cars, or a space company to jump in free fall at over 800 miles per hour, and despite years of planning and tens of millions of dollars, seems to have been worth it to reach more than 120 million views. And right after, when Red Bull created these memorable events or set records that are often talked about or watched, long after the company witnessed an increase in global sales. It's an event that provides long-term and consistent returns on their investment. But the most interesting and unique part of Red Bull's strategy throughout all these events is that they rarely mention their drink. For example, with Felix Baumgartner's record breaking free fall, most companies probably made sure they saw him drinking a can of Red Bull when he landed. Red Bull advertising is often about brand awareness, not actively selling their products. They tried to create something really exciting for their audience to simply associate their brand with something incredible. Watching an ad seems like we're just watching something cool from a company that also happens to sell energy drinks. Red Bull is mostly a premium lifestyle product, which is ironic. As a result, in some countries today, Red Bull has over 80% of the energy drink market share, and since 1987, over 100 billion cans have been sold worldwide. Red Bull has been banned in many countries over the years, the most famous of which is France. They say the caffeine content of the drink is too much and there are some other substances in Red Bull. It may not be as safe as they knew. But in 2008, the full version of Red Bull was sold again in France. Also in Germany in 2009, Red Bull Cola was found to contain small amounts of cocaine, which led some German states to ban it. But once again, upon further investigation, it was found that the amount was so small that you had to drink the amounts. Almost impossible to drink to really feel anything, so the drink was taken again. Interestingly, each can cost about 9 cents, but they sell them for 1.79 or more. And finally, Red Bull reminds us that the best marketing is not just running ads the same way everyone else is doing it. It actually does something creative and original, because the ultimate lesson of Red Bull is that we don't have to sell a product, we have to sell a feeling or an image, and maybe only one company has done that.